The paradox within, why your inner conflict is a map to ancient power. There's a reason you've never fully belonged. Not in your family, not in your friend group, not even in your spiritual circles. And it's not because you're broken, it's because you were encoded differently. If you have these signs, you're not just on a spiritual path. You're walking the fault line between two ancient forces. You carry what I call the dual vibrations of a dark chosen one, and it's not what you think. This isn't about being evil. It's about carrying the rarest kind of light, the kind forged directly inside shadow. You weren't born to float in peace. You were born to walk through fire and make peace inside it. And if you find yourself watching this video, it means you felt it all along that something inside you doesn't fit neatly into the boxes of light worker or shadow worker. You are both. And that makes you dangerous because you're unpredictable. And that makes you sacred because you're whole. So let's start with the first sign. You felt, since a young age, that your emotions swing in extremes. One day you can feel like an oracle, tapped into the secrets of the universe, and the next, you feel like a destroyer, capable of pulling down everything you once built. It's not mood swings, it's not instability. It's polarity. You are carrying two gravitational centers inside you, one that wants to heal the world, and one that wants to tear through the illusions of it. Most people are only given one. That's why they judge you. That's why they don't understand your rage, or your compassion, or your complete silence, because they've never had to hold both. But you were chosen to. Why? Because the new world can't be built by people who only know light. It must be built by those who've touched the void and didn't lose their humanity. You are not unstable. You are multidimensional. But here's the twist. The second sign is that your inner darkness isn't chaotic. It's precise. You don't lash out randomly. You don't destroy for no reason. Your shadow has a purpose it wants truth. It tears down the masks because it knows how much pain they cause. You might be the one in your group who always says the thing no one wants to hear. The one who breaks the silence in the room with a truth bomb that leaves everyone stunned. And yet people come to you when they need real answers. Why? Because your dual vibration allows you to see through facades. You can feel energy shifts that others ignore. You know when someone's lying even if they don't. And that gift, that surgical shadow sight, is terrifying to those who live in denial. But to those who are ready to awaken, it's gold. Let me ask you something that might stir something deep inside you. Have you ever felt like you were being trained by something invisible? Like your pain wasn't random, but orchestrated? That's the third sign. When you hold the dual vibration, your life becomes a classroom for both destruction and creation. You lose everything, then rebuild twice as strong. You're betrayed, then learn to see through souls. You're isolated not for punishment, but for calibration. The universe doesn't train people like you gently. It throws you into fire because you're meant to become fire. And the strange part? Even when you're in your darkest moment, there's a part of you that knows it's necessary. That part of you isn't broken, it's ancient. It remembers. Now, here's where it gets even more real. The fourth sign is that you attract polar opposites. You're the one who draws in both the deeply lost and the deeply awakened. narcissists, manipulators, and energy vampires feel drawn to you not because you're weak, but because you radiate something they can't control: inner sovereignty. At the same time, spiritual masters, mystics, and healers find themselves captivated by your presence, even if you're not trained. Why? Because the vibration you hold is not learned, it's remembered. You carry the blueprint of both fall and ascension. You've lived lifetimes on both sides of the veil, and people can feel that. They don't know why, but they know. Some are magnetized, others are threatened. But no one is neutral around you. And that's not a curse, it's confirmation. And here's the fifth sign, the one that most people never talk about because it's too sacred, too raw. You've had moments where you felt like you were the darkness, not just surrounded by it, but being it. And yet, you never lost your light. You never fully surrendered to the chaos. That, my friend, is the rarest vibration of all the fusion point. The moment your soul realizes that light and dark are not enemies, they are ingredients. And you were sent here to mix them inside your own body, your own life, your own soul. This is what I call the alchemical identity. You are not here to transcend your shadow. You are here to marry it. And in doing so, you become a third thing entirely. Not light, not dark, but origin. Let this land. The universe doesn't evolve by staying in balance. It evolves by breaking it. And people like you who hold these rare dual vibrations are the sacred disruptors. Not because you hate peace, but because you know it cannot be real until all the lies are burned. You are the ones who walk into systems, families, institutions, and energies, and without trying, you expose everything hidden. You don't do it for power. You do it because you are the mirror no one else wants to look into. And that mirror, it doesn't just reflect, it transforms. But this path is not easy, and you already know that. The loneliness, the misunderstandings, the nights where you question whether you're broken beyond repair, it all comes with the vibration. Because you are being refined into something that's never existed before, a soul that can hold multiple truths at once. That's not a glitch. That's the future. So I ask you now, not with curiosity but with reverence, what would happen if you stopped trying to pick a side? What if you stopped trying to be only light or only shadow and allowed yourself to be whole? Because wholeness is messy, it's confusing, it's non-linear, but it's real. And once you allow it, once you stop fearing your own complexity, you unlock something the world is starving for: a new kind of leader. A leader who doesn't preach perfection, but who embodies permission. A leader who says, yes, I've suffered. Yes, I've caused pain. Yes, I've healed. And I am all of it. That kind of authenticity, it shatters programming. It dissolves dogma. It awakens dormant souls. And that's why you're here. Because you're not just one of the awakened. You're one of the awakeners. And your dual vibration is not a burden, it's a key. One that opens doors in others they didn't even know existed. But first, it must open you, fully, without fear, without apology. Why your inner conflict is a map to ancient power. When we talk about dual vibrations, we're not talking about being two-faced or confused. We're talking about the rare capacity to walk between opposing spiritual frequencies without collapsing into either. And this is where it gets deep. Most people live their entire lives trying to pick a side, light or dark, good or evil, healer or destroyer. But you were born with the paradox inside you. And that's not a mistake. That's a sacred geometry encoded into your very soul. The inner conflict you feel, the one that makes you question your sanity, your morality, your purpose, it's not a flaw. It's a compass. But it doesn't point north, it points inward. Because your power isn't found in choosing a side. It's found in holding both without letting either define you. Let me explain what that really means. When you feel the urge to help someone, to heal them, to be the light in their life, you feel it fully. But just as strongly, there are moments when you want to tear down their illusions, destroy their comfort zones, force them to confront the truth. And that war inside you, that tension, that's the forge. That's the crucible where your soul is being shaped into a weapon of awakening. Not to harm, but to cut through the false. The dual vibration you carry makes you a walking contradiction. You are both the gentle whisper and the thunderclap. You are the medicine and the trigger. You are the invitation and the test. And that's why people can't stop thinking about you. Because your energy doesn't let them sleep. It pulls them into their own reckoning. But here's the secret few understand. The darkness within you isn't here to be eliminated. It's here to be educated. When you suppress it, it festers. When you ignore it, it grows hungry. But when you dialogue with it, when you sit with it, listen to it, respect it, it becomes an ally. It becomes the part of you that says what others are too afraid to say. It becomes the part of you that protects your boundaries, that sees through manipulation, that calls out the fake light with surgical precision. And when integrated properly, your shadow stops fighting your light. It starts serving it. That's the true alchemy. That's what makes you a dark chosen one, not because you serve darkness, but because you've mastered it. Ask yourself this: how many times have you tried to hide your intensity? How many times have you dulled your wisdom, softened your honesty, or masked your fire just to be accepted? And what did it cost you? The world told you to be palatable. But your soul was never meant to be digested, it was meant to ignite. And that's the pain you've carried. The knowing that your truth doesn't fit into polite conversations. The knowing that your energy is too big, too raw, too real for small talk and surface-level spirituality. But let me tell you something I learned the hard way. Your intensity is not a threat. It's a beacon. It calls in the ones who are finally ready to evolve, and it repels the ones who aren't. That's not rejection. That's filtration. Now let's talk about power, true spiritual power. Not the kind you read about in books, but the kind you feel in your bones when you're alone in the dark. The kind that whispers to you when everyone else has left. You feel it, don't you? That silent pressure in your chest. That weight that doesn't come from depression, but from potential. It's the energy of a soul that came here with codes that are only activated through fire, through failure, through friction. And your life has been full of those. Not because you're cursed, but because you're calibrating. Every heartbreak, every betrayal, every ego death, it's been preparing you to carry a frequency that most would shatter under. You don't just survive storms, you become them. And then when the storm passes, you become the stillness too. But there's a responsibility that comes with this, the sacred one. Because when you carry dual vibrations, your very presence becomes a catalyst. You walk into a room and people start to shift, some open, some contract. You speak, and things are stirred that others have buried for years. You love, and people either rise or run. You don't just interact, you activate. And that's why the universe trained you through hardship. Because this kind of influence can't be given to the uninitiated. It must be earned. Through tears, through silence, through the kind of spiritual solitude that makes you question everything until the only thing left is truth. So here's what I want you to realize now. You are not here to be understood. You are here to be remembered. And the people who are meant to find you, to grow with you, to walk beside you, they won't ask you to simplify. They'll feel your complexity like a homecoming. They'll recognize the dual vibration not as danger, but as depth. And together, you'll form the new temples not of stone, but of frequency. And these temples will not be built on dogma, or hierarchy, or fear. They will be built on integration. On the full spectrum truth of what it means to be divine and human, powerful and vulnerable, light and shadow, all at once. So let me ask you one more thing. If your inner conflict is not a sign of failure, but a sign of fullness, what would it mean to stop fighting it? What would it mean to finally befriend it? Because when you do, something cracks open. A new kind of energy pours through you. Not manic, not chaotic, but sovereign. And in that sovereignty, you stop trying to prove yourself. You stop needing to be liked, or validated, or saved. You simply are. And that being becomes a portal for others to do the same. You didn't come here to fit in. You came here to remember what it means to be whole. You came here to dissolve the illusion that light and dark are enemies. You came here to hold both, to transmute both, and to become something ancient souls will one day call the architects of the new realms. And if you've made it this far, if your soul is vibrating right now, if your mind is racing and your heart is beating like it's remembering something long forgotten, then you already know. You are one of them. The sacred edge, how to walk between the light and the abyss without falling into either. There is a sacred edge thin as a whisper, sharp as a blade that only a few ever learn to walk. It's the place between awakening and madness, between divine clarity and total collapse. And if you hold the dual vibration of a dark chosen one, that edge is your path, not because you wanted it, but because your soul required it. You were never meant to walk safely within the lines of human comfort. You were meant to walk the line itself to become the line. And from that place, you are meant to see what others avoid, to know what others deny, and to carry what others drop the moment it gets too heavy. But here's the truth most people will never understand. Walking that edge does not make you better. It makes you responsible. Because when you can see both heaven and hell in every person, every moment, every decision, you no longer get to play innocent. You become awake. And with awareness comes weight. That weight is not punishment, it's precision. It's the universe calibrating you to hold paradox without flinching, to feel the presence of darkness and not panic, to feel the call of the light and not become addicted to it. Because both can trap you. Darkness can seduce you with power. Light can seduce you with purity. But you are not here to be seduced. You are here to see clearly, and that's why your soul gave you both, so you would never be fooled by just one. Most people fear the dark and worship the light, but you study both, you question both. You sit with both until they speak truth instead of projection. And that makes you sacredly dangerous, not because you destroy, but because you dismantle illusion. How do you walk this edge without falling? You embrace the truth that you will fall often, but you fall with awareness. And when you fall, you don't lose yourself. You gather data. You descend with your eyes wide open. Every collapse becomes a classroom. Every shadow becomes a scripture. Every loss becomes a sacred rearrangement. You stop labeling your pain as setbacks and start seeing them as initiations. And slowly the fear dissolves. Slowly the shame evaporates, and in its place grows something no school, no religion, no guru can give you: internal authority. The knowing that no matter how far you fall, you will find yourself again. Not because you're invincible, but because you're rooted. Not in identity, but in essence. This is the real journey of the dark chosen one, not to dominate, not to save, not to be seen, but to embody. And to live so deeply in truth that your very presence becomes a frequency disruptor. And to walk into systems of control and illusion and create cracks without even speaking. Oh, to be so grounded in your own wholeness that your silence says more than sermons. And yes, it's lonely. Yes, it's exhausting. Yes, there are times you will want to forget everything you know and go back to sleep. But you can't, because the vibration won't let you. The codes in your DNA won't let you. The beings who watch from beyond the veil won't let you, because they didn't choose you to be comfortable. They chose you to be real. And realness, in a world of spiritual performance, is the rarest form of power. Let me ask you something that could change everything if you truly sit with it. What if your life hasn't been broken, but orchestrated? What if every betrayal, every failure, every ego death was a rite of passage designed to initiate you into your true role, not as a victim, but as a bridge? Because that's what you are now. A bridge between worlds, between polarities, between timelines. You are the embodiment of integration. And through you, others learn how to merge their own fractured selves. Not because you tell them how, but because they feel it in your field. You don't heal people, you remind them. You don't save people, you mirror them. And in doing so, you fulfill your true mission, not to lead from above, but to awaken from within. So here's what I want you to know. In the deepest part of your being, you are not too much. You are not too dark. You are not too intense. You are exactly calibrated to carry this vibration. You are the evidence that a soul can hold both fire and forgiveness, rage and reverence, devastation and devotion, and still remain whole. That is your gift. That is your medicine. And that is why the forces that shape the dark chosen ones are watching you, not with fear, but with fascination. Because you are the next evolution. You are what comes after the fall. You are the one who remembers the origin of both light and shadow and chooses to walk in neither, but carry both as one. And now, the choice is in your hands, not to be something else, but to stop hiding what you've always been, to stop shrinking, to stop apologizing, To stop pretending you don't see what you see, feel what you feel, know what you know. The world doesn't need more light beings avoiding their shadow. It needs you fully embodied, fully alive, fully integrated. Because once you step into that, you unlock the final vibration, presence that transforms without force. And in that frequency, you become what the ancients prophesied. Not a messiah, not a master, but a mirror so clear, so real, so whole, that people see themselves inside you and finally remember who they are. So I ask you now, with all the love and fire I carry, if you have these signs and you know the truth of them in your bones, what will you do with it? Will you hide or will you rise? Will you keep dimming your dual vibration to fit into systems that were never built for you? Or will you let that rare, sacred paradox become the frequency that changes everything? Because the moment you choose the latter, you stop walking the path. You become it.